Well, welcome back to the game, everybody. Now it's time to have our first action scene. We're going to have some gunplay and going to have some combat here. Let's see what happens. I think what makes the most sense here, due to distance and positioning, is to have Pash the Smuggler act first. He's the closest. Jason Ellis writes, Pash slyly watches Timo's enforcers as he sips his drink. As they turn to leave with their backs to him, he leaps into action and quickly draws his blaster pistol and fires at the closest enforcer. And then he'll dive over the bar and take cover next to the cowering bartender. Well, I agree with Jason, what he said. This would probably take an extra maneuver. One maneuver to draw his weapon, an action to make his attack, and then a follow-up maneuver to reposition himself behind the bar. I think he's exactly right there. So we'll let him do that. He draws his weapon and makes his attack. Let's see if he hits the closest enforcer. Alright, for Pash, this is going to be a short-range attack. For short range, I'm going to pull out my die roller here. This is also from Fantasy Flight. We're going to need one of the challenge dice. And then right on his character sheet, we get to see what his dice pool will be for his attack with his blaster pistol. For Pash, we can see some statistics here. Blastic pistol, what skill it uses, what its range is, its damage, and then the dice pool. So we're going to have a yellow and 2 green here. So when you deal damage, it deals 6, but for each success, it adds +1 to that. And if you roll 3 advantage, not 1 or not 2, but 3 or more, you can spend it to cause a critical hit. So let's see, it was a yellow and 2 green. Alright, so let's give this a roll and see how Pash does. We've got 1 success and 1 advantage. And the nice thing about the die roller here, it just quickly totals that for you so we can speed things along. So that's a hit that's going to do 7 damage. Now, I probably should have done this earlier, but I'm going to place some poker chips under these guys just to help us indicate the difference. You know, which one someone may be firing at, or how much damage one of these guys has taken. So what do we got here? Red, yellow, green, and the blue. We're going to say that Pash was firing at the red one, and he was hit. If we look at the statistics here, remember that was 7 damage. This is the Gamorrean thugs. Their soak is 3. That's going to absorb 3 points of this 7. So that's going to leave 4. And they have a wound threshold of 6. So that thug is still alive he can take up to 2 more damage before he's out. So we'll note that the red Gamorrean has suffered 4 points of damage. After he fires his shot and hits the Gamorrean right in the back, Pash hops over the bar. Remember that Pash had rolled 1 advantage. We're going to have him recover a point of his strain. I think that'll take his strain points down to from 2 to 1. So he's only going to have 1 strain on his character. Well, for our next bit of action, I'm going to go down here to Oskara behind the stage. Remember that our Norwegian friend playing Oskara clearly said that she had her gun ready. So she's not going to need to take a maneuver to get that thing set. So right after Pash fires, you can imagine she would pop up behind the stage and start firing as well. So Odd Gunnar Whitmark says, As the lights dim and the Gamorreans walk around the cantina checking for the outlaws, Oscara tries to make out the silhouette of the thugs from ordinary guests. Shockingly, she realizes that her companions are going to ambush the enemy in the dark. She curses as she takes out her heavy blaster and releases the safety mechanism. Actually, I think you already said your weapon was ready, so when she is certain that she has a clear shot, as certain as she can be in the dark anyway, she unleashes death, she hopes, upon them, firing away, yelling, "Give my regards to Timo." Alright, I thought, and I guess I can double check here, but I really thought that in the previous post that you said that her weapon was already drawn and ready. I'm just going to double check that. Yep, readying her gun. I would say that instead of needing to deal with any disadvantage dice due to the extra range here and the dim lights, that you could take that action instead to aim, and that's basically going to cancel here, so we'll just say that you're not going to have to face a penalty due to the lights dimming. But we'll take a look and see what the approximate range is, and we'll go right with your shot. Okay, I think this is going to be medium range. That's just technically categorized as a shot across the room. So let's see what we've got here. This is a blaster carbine, a ranged heavy weapon with a range of medium, 9 damage. We're going to use 2 yellow and 2 green, and damage is going to be 9 and +1 per hit. So let's get those dice, 2 yellow and 2 green, and then if we add 2 purple, this will give us our pool of dice. We're not going to need to add one of the black dice for the dark conditions. We're going to say instead Oscara can use her action to aim. We're just going to let those ride out and cancel. So instead of including those in the pool, let's just roll this as a standard shot. Alright, what did we get? We've got 2 successes there and 1 advantage. Alright, well that damage totals 11. Base damage is 9 plus 2 for the successes. So as Pash shot red and he kind of fell to the floor on his hands and knees, Oscara shoots and hits yellow, and she blasts him right in the neck and the upper chest and just takes him out in 1 shot. So he is out of the combat now. Good shot. The bounty hunter also had 1 advantage. We'll let her reduce her strain from 3 to 2. One quick adjustment I need to make. Pash took a point of strain for that extra maneuver. Remember, he drew his weapon and hopped the bar, and then, or he drew his weapon, shot, and then hopped the bar. That's going to add 1 strain back. So the advantage that he rolled and the strain that he spent, that's going to bring him back to a total strain of 2. So we'll note that before we move on. Well, now it's time to go to Vex and the Wookiee. Well, Vex is played by Daniel Campen, and he says, having watched the Gamorreans as they searched the cantina, Vex turned his head over his shoulder to look at the Wookiee as the thugs began to walk out. "We attack now?" he asked as he unlocked the door and almost fell out of the closet, taking cover behind the bar. He then tries to shoot the closest thug. Alright, technically we could have a number of maneuvers there, such as opening the door, drawing the weapon, then taking position. But let's include the unlocking of the door and coming out of the closet more as a part of the role play scene. And let's be a little flexible there and let Vex take his maneuver and and then take his shot. We might want to charge him for this 1 point of strain. So let's say if it's unlock the door, and we'll unlock the door and draw his weapon. Let's just let that slide as 1, and then take a position here as 2, and then fire as his action. So we're just going to add him with 1 strain here and put him in position to attack there. So we're going to scoot Pash down a little bit, just making room for Vex there behind the bar. That maneuver will take Vex to 1 point of strain at this time. And now let's get his die pool ready for his attack. Well, the droid is using a light blaster, and he's only got a dice pool of 2. But it's going to deal 5 damage on a hit, plus 1 per success. So let's see how he does. He said he's firing at the closest enemy. Well, following Pash's lead there, why don't we have him take a shot at red. So the red one that has already suffered 4 damage. Let's see if Vex can take him out completely. Alright, so here's the app picking up again with all the Star Wars noises. And let's get your dice pool. Let's see, we've got 1 for a short range attack, and then we've got 2 green. And I think you're close enough with some of the lights around the area here, especially at the bar, where you can take your shot, even though the lights are dimmed. I think anything at short range or so would probably take a penalty, but you're close enough to see what's going on here. So we'll let you roll just like this. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh. This is a failure, but 1 advantage was rolled. So the shot goes wide and strikes the floor right near this wounded Gamorrean. But with the 1 advantage, you can spin that on reducing strain. So we'll do that. That's going to take, actually the strain, that's going to take you back down to 0 strain. Well, next we have the Wookiee coming out right behind the droid, also behind the bar. The Wookiee's played by Daniel Reed, and Daniel Reed says, unable to see what's happening in the cantina, Lowrick waits patiently. Just as his patience starts to wane, he hears Pash through the communicator. Timo's thugs are exiting the cantina, and Pash wants to ambush them from behind. Lowrick motions for the droid to unlock the door, and for his actions, he's going to have a maneuver to come up to the bar, and he'll take a second maneuver to get his weapon, and then he's going to make an attack on the closest Gamorrean. Well, although the Wookiee may like his vibro-axe the best as a gladiator, he is armed with a blaster pistol. And here we see his pool of dice here for his attack. So let's get that ready, and let's roll. He's going to have a yellow and 2 green. The Wookiee will take 1 strain to do these maneuvers, coming out of the closet and readying his weapon and taking cover, and then gets his action to attack. So the die pool again is 1 yellow and 2 green. Let's get this together. 1 yellow, 2 green, and then we have our difficulty die at short range. Alright, let's see what happens. Very nice. We've got 2 successes and 2 advantage. Sorry about the glare. Well, that's going to total 8 points of damage. Even with the soak, that's enough to take out red. So the red thug is now taken out completely. And with the 2 advantage, we can bring the Wookiee's strain back down to 0. Okay, the heroes have all taken their actions. Now it's time for the Gamorreans to do something. It would probably be likely that in such a situation enemies might flee. However, we'll say that because they understand and have just been programmed, not necessarily like a droid, but they just know that terrible things are in store for them if they don't follow through with Teemo's orders. They're here to fight to the death. So we're going to have Green here attempt to take his club and swing at Pash, who's on the other side of the bar. So he's going to try to reach over here with his big club and bring it down right on top of Pash's head. We'll see what happens. Alright, for the thug, he gets 2 green and a yellow. A melee attack being engaged with an opponent requires 2 challenge dice here, 2 purple. And then Pash is behind the bar in cover, so we're going to add another black. Let's give these a roll and see if Pash gets hurt. Well, we've got no successes and just 1 advantage. So Pash ducks down behind the bar, and the Gamorrean strikes some of the glasses and mugs right there along the bar, smashes them, and some of that debris rains down over Pash as he covers his eyes. Well, Blue here, he knows of the player characters, having been employees of Teemo themselves, so he knows that the Wookiee's dangerous, and he makes a maneuver to close in over there and makes a similar attack on Lorik with his club. Well, we're basically just going to re-roll all of these same dice for the attack on the Wookiee. And, well, we got lucky there. That is 3 successes, but he's also got 3 threat. That's interesting. 3 successes and 3 threat. Well, here's Lorik's character sheet. And we look at the soak here. That was 3 successes for the Gamorrean, and he has a club that does 5, so that's 6, 7, 8. 8 points of damage. Soaking 4, that's going to take the Wookiee here, he's going to take 4 points of wounds. So 4 damage to Lorik. Perhaps as the Gamorrean came across and attempted to attack, Lorik is just too big to duck down behind the bar, and managed to get hit on the shoulder, which is partially deflected there. Looks like he's wearing a little bit of armor. But perhaps the blow is partially deflected by his armor, and he takes 4 wounds. Well, we need to spend 3 threat, and we can do that in a variety of ways. Let's just make it something interesting here. As Lorik is struck, his gladiator reflexes come into play, and he manages to grab hold of the Gamorrean's weapon and yank it from him, and it goes clattering to the floor behind the bar. So we'll say that Blue here is completely disarmed. He's lost his weapon. Alright, well, that's going to end this first round of combat. So player characters, in any order you would like, please post your next set of actions on Facebook. Remember, you get an action and a maneuver. And maneuver is any kind of, little thing. It could be drawing your weapon, walking over here, opening a door. Those are all little maneuvers. And remember, you can take a maneuver to aim. And when you aim, you get one of these dice here. The only one that's suffering anything from the darkness, the dimmed lights, would be Oscara. She's potentially facing one of these, unless she takes an aim maneuver. And then of course she can run up as a maneuver and close into short range, and then she'll be fine. But that's the only character right now in medium range. So let me know what you want to do. I'll post everybody's statistics here at the end to let you know how many wounds and strain you have. And I believe both green and red are at full health. I don't think they've taken any damage. But blue, it has been disarmed, so he's just using his hands and teeth right now. So let me know what you want to do, and we'll continue on with the adventure.